Assalamu alaikum. 6 p.m. This is Radio Pakistan, the news read by Miriam Khan. First, the headlines. Prime Minister meets the US President in Washington today to discuss the entire gamut of bilateral relations and the regional situation with a focus on bringing peace to Afghanistan. Addressing a public gathering of Pakistani community in Washington, Imran Khan said the government is introducing far-reaching reforms to transform the country into a vibrant democratic state. Chairman Federal Board of Revenue has requested all the heads of banks to provide the information to the board relating to Benami accounts within fortnight. Leader of Islamic Supreme Council of Iraq has expressed his country's full support to Pakistan's stance on Kashmir dispute. Turkey has warned of counter steps in case the United States imposes sanctions over Ankara's purchase of Russian S-400 missiles defense systems. Israeli forces have begun demolishing dozens of buildings in East Jerusalem despite strong protests by the Palestinians. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan and US President Donald Trump are holding talks at White House in Washington today to discuss the entire gamut of bilateral relations and a regional situation with focus on bringing peace to Afghanistan. The talks will mark an effort by the two leaders to reset the ties between the two countries. The talks will help to expand the bilateral cooperation on trade and investment as well as the work towards the peace in South Asia at large and Afghanistan in particular. President Trump will warmly welcome the Pakistani leader in his Oval Office, which will then extend to working luncheon to be attended by the cabinet members and the senior Pentagon leaders. Meanwhile, Director General ISPR Major General Asif Ghafoor in a tweet said Chief of Army Staff General Qamar Javed Bajwa will be the part of Prime Minister Imran Khan's delegation during the meeting with the US President Donald Trump. He said that the Army Chief will also visit the Pentagon to interact with the US Acting Secretary of Defense Richard Spencer, Chairman Joint Chiefs of Army Staff General Joseph Dunford, and Chief of Staff of US Army General Mark A. Milley. Prime Minister Imran Khan says the government is committed to introducing far-reaching reforms to transform Pakistan into the vibrant democratic country. He was addressing a large public Pakistani American community in Washington, D.C. He said PTI-led government wants to turn the country into a welfare state like State of Medina. The Prime Minister said we will pull our country out of its current difficulties. The government is planning to introduce the modern subjects like science in madrasas so that the poor might also have a better economic opportunities. Reiterating the government's stance of documentation of the national economy, he warned the traders that they would have to pay the taxes to make the country pay back the hefty loans which had swelled from 6,000 billion to 30,000 billion rupees during the last 10 years. Imran Khan said the opposition leader facing corruption cases wanted an NRO, but he would not reset until his government recovered the looted national wealth. About Afghan issue, he said since the very first day he had been opposing the military solution in Afghanistan, and now the whole world has realized that the Afghanistan has no military solution. Addressing a trade and investment conference in Washington, D.C., the Prime Minister asked the expatriate Pakistani community in the United States to take the advantage of investment opportunities in Pakistan. He said our focus is on revive industries and ensure the ease of doing business, which was neglected in the past. He said one window operation is being started at the Prime Minister's Secretariat to facilitate the expatriate Pakistan's interested to invest in Pakistan. He said Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United States Emirates, and China are showing the great interest in investment in Pakistan, while the landlocked Central Asian states are also looking towards the Gwadar for their trade. Talking to all-star groups comprising leading IT professionals in the Washington, D.C., Imran Khan pledged all the possible support for the development of a robust IT sector. He said development of IT is amongst highest priorities of the government as the sector entails huge job opportunities for the youth. The group exchanged views on strengthening academic institutions, research and development of standard institutions including technology field, training for IT technicians and engineers and vocational trainings. Special Assistant to Prime Minister on Information and Broadcasting Dr. Firdaus Ashikaman says the Prime Minister Imran Khan is paying visit to the United States to effectively present Pakistan's narrative at the international level. Talking to media persons in Karachi this afternoon, she said Prime Minister will explain Pakistan's narrative and portray the country's real face to the international community during his today's casual meeting with the US President Donald Trump in Washington. The special assistant said the meeting between Imran Khan and Donald Trump will have a deep and positive effect on the situation in the region. She said attempts to isolate Pakistan in the region are failing with the ongoing successful visit of the Prime Minister. This is Radio Pakistan giving you the news. Chairman Federal Board of Revenue Shabar Zadi has requested all the heads of banks to provide the information to FBR relating to Benami accounts within fortnight. In a letter, he urged the banks to share with FBR all the gathered information in this regard, which shall be kept highly confidential. Shabar Zadi said FBR is mandated to take action against the Benami account under the Benami Transaction Ordinance 2017. The government has made elaborate arrangements for intending the pilgrims to make their stay easy and comfortable in the Holy Land and enabling them to focus on their prayers. Radio Pakistan's special correspondent Muhammad Akram Khan reports from Makkatul Mukarramah that 90,000 Hujjaj have reached the Holy Land. He said 64,000 pilgrims have arrived under the government schemes and 25,000 other came under the private Hajj scheme. So far, six pilgrims under government Hajj scheme and 2 other of private Hajj schemes have died in Saudi Arabia. Naval Chief Admiral Zafar Mahmood Abbasi held a meeting with the commander of UAE Naval Forces at Dubai Naval Headquarters and discussed the cooperation in maritime affairs. Later, the Naval Chief also held meetings with the Chief of Staff of UAE's Armed Forces and Under Secretary of the country's Ministry of Defense and discussed the matters of a mutual interest. Azad Jammu and Kashmir Prime Minister Raja Farooq Haider Khan has asked the European Union and United Nations to constitute a fact-finding mission to observe the situation in occupied Kashmir. He was addressing a function arranged in his honor in Birmingham, UK. Raja Farooq Haider said we need to expose the ugly face of India to the world community and the overseas Pakistani could play a vital role in this regard. Leader of Islamic Supreme Council of Iraq, Sheikh Dr. Hamam Hamouzi, has said that the Iraq strongly supported Pakistan's stance on Kashmir dispute and it should be resolved according to aspiration of Kashmiri people in the light of UN resolution. He expressed that these views during his separate meeting with the Chairman Parliamentary Committee on Kashmir, Sayyid Fakhir Imam, Chairman National Assembly Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Malik Ehsanullah Tewana, and the leadership of all parties Hurriyat Conference in Islamabad today. Dr. Hamad Hamouzi said that the Kashmir and Palestinians are oldest UN resolved issue on the agenda of the United Nations. The Global Forum should play its due role in the resolution. He strongly condemned the use of pellet guns against the unarmed Kashmiris in occupied Kashmir. Turkey says it will take the counter steps if the United States impose sanctions over the Ankara purchase of Russian S-400 missile defense systems. In an interview with the TV channel, Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu said that the case Turkey doesn't get F-35 jets from United States, Ankara would meet its needs from other sources until it produces its own. Israeli forces began demolishing dozens of buildings in East Jerusalem today, aimed at Palestinian anger and international outcry. According to media reports, bulldozers accompanied by the hundreds of Israeli soldiers moved into the neighborhood of the Wadi Homs in the occupied city and began to raze the several buildings in the area. The Israeli army declared the areas of military zone, preventing people and journalists from reaching the site. And finally, the weather report. Mainly hot and humid weather is expected in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain, thundershower and windstorm is expected at isolated places in Peshawar, Kohad, Quetta, Job, Kalat, Makran, Mirpur Khas, Hyderabad, Hazara, Lahore, Gujranwala, Rawalpindi divisions, Islamabad and Kashmir. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website, radio.gov.pk, and also watch live video streaming of our bulletin on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.